Then I mentioned shortly we have a contact suggestion. This on the right-hand side is a small view of a Dynamics opportunity. As we can imagine, we have the area where my sales team is mentioned. So here in this sample, I was adding my colleague Daniel Hering as a sales professional in this opportunity. And right now, as a user, I want to start a linked conversation in the system. And as we see, the system automatically recommends Daniel as a contact for this conversation. Here in the participant, it's a multiple users list. So here I could also mention Anna. Skip the suggestion from Daniel, but the system is just highlighting because it's related to the opportunity. And then as we saw in the previous picture, it starts the immediate chat conversation with the colleague. Then we have a very nice functionality, what is known to all of our Office users working with the Office Online products like Excel Online or the Word Online. There you have a better functionality, of course, like the co-authoring. This hopefully will join Dynamics soon, but first of all, we start with the presence feature. And this we see on the left-hand side when I'm in the user record and I'm on the form. I see this exact same as in Office Online. I see the dot with the sign or name from my colleague, and I have the functionality. I can hover over it and immediately start a Teams chat, call the colleague, or also open the contact card. Contact card is only the display of the organizational information of this user. Then on the right-hand side, we have an extension with the Teams integration. Previously, it was also possible to see the status of the user with the icons. So we had the user photo and we saw these small dots of the status. Right now, after the update, the system also will provide the current online status with name. So it's very easy to identify, is the user away or is he available, or maybe in an online presentation to get the direct information if I can contact the user, yes or no. Okay, small and more details about the co-presence feature and the link chat, because I cannot easily show it, but I will try it later, just for the record that you can review it later. First of all, as mentioned, we start in the form. Here I'm in the contact of my colleague Manuel Hanak, and I see on the top right that there's a colleague with me on the same page. There could be multiple users, then I would see multiple users displayed. It's the exact same as it is in the Office Online products. And in the next step, I hover over the user and would click on the Start Teams chat. Right now, immediately the Teams chat window opens up in the browser, adding the contact card, we see it here, with some basic information of the record and also a link. And when opening the chat, I was adding a kickoff note. We see it like, hi, can we chat about this one? As we see, the name of this chat is Review Contact Data. Just to keep it simple, don't use Manuel Hanak, otherwise you would think you would chat with Manuel Hanak. But this is about Manuel Hanak with my colleague. So we review the contact data of Manuel Hanak. We have the link, the colleague can click the link, open it, but sorry. I see my colleague is at the same record, so I would not expect him to click the link because we work on the same page. Then more details about the link chat and the link channels. As we saw in the link chat, we can give a different name to the chat. Normally it's pre-filled with the record name. I can add up to one or multiple participants. The system also will automatically suggest or recommend participants based on the relations in this record, like the sales users and the opportunity will be recognized in the system. So it's very easy to identify who's working on this record and adding it to the same chat. And last but not least, as we saw, we have adding notes. And then we also have the functionality, it's called connect to a channel. Last but not least, this is the old connect functionality we already know from the ribbon elements, where you have the old previous Teams integration, with the possibility to link the record to the Dynamics chat groups. Starting real quick, we just saw it, how the chat linking is working. I will just zoom in real quick. So we see I have the chat name with CRM, Harriet Parrish. I want to include notes, so I write the text and also see the card of this related record, and on clicking start, the chat with my colleague Daniel Bach would start. So at his end, the chat window would pop up. Just as an example, I demonstrate, we see now I'm in the view from Daniel and the chat fenster would pop up. We see the chat description displayed. Sorry, just dropped with the Zoom. We have two participants in the conversation. I see the card of the record and I have the Open in Dynamics button just to directly open it, because it is possible that the colleague is only online with the Teams client. So then he can simply click and open the related record in the system. Next functionality, as mentioned, linking the channels. We just see on the top, we have the different chat and channel overview. So we see connect a channel to a record. At the end, it's nothing different as the old functionality we already know. And when I just zoom in for the details, it's the exact same functionality as the collaborate button. So at most cases, it's easier to just click collaborate and link it to the Teams channel, or you do the same with the right pane. It's up to you totally. Then let's get to the best point, the direct Teams integration out of Dynamics using appointments. Just as mentioned, we can use simple appointments in Dynamics. There is a toggle inside to define that they are simply Teams chats. At the end, the system will auto-generate a Teams invite with a Teams link. And this Teams link will be specified to link to this Dynamics record. So it's not a Teams link of the user, as we know on email footers or attachments when we invite users using a team or a live event. It is a linked link, sorry for this wording, linked link to the Dynamics record. So when the user is joining using this link, the complete conversation is tracked with this Dynamics record. As an overview how this looks like, I create an appointment. I see the quick create flyout panel from the right, and we see this little sign of Teams meeting. I simply toggle yes, and this would create the Teams invite. We just see it here on the screen. Teams meeting is generated as we know, but behind the click here to join the meeting is a named link to the Dynamics record. Then I just mentioned I cannot demo this. Unfortunately, the add-on for the Dynamics, for the client, it's the Dynamics 365 application for Microsoft Teams. It is available when I'm at the desktop client and I'm in communication with a customer. It is very easy to get direct access of the user's record information or contact or lead, whatsoever the meeting is linked with. And I can track changes. I can update the Dynamics record. I can create tasks for the timeline. I can create and add notes for the timeline. So all the nice functionality we always need in all our Teams meetings, taking notes and defining follow-up activities. As an overview, unfortunately, I'm talking with myself. So Daniel is joining a Teams meeting with Daniel, what is linked in Dynamics. We have the Dynamics add-in at the top level. And when we click on the right-hand side, as it is known for the chat window or the notes window or the people window, we get the Dynamics 365 window. And we see here in this case, I have a test user record linked to this conversation. And it's also very nice. I directly see the details. I see the owner, and I can update the record. So just imagine during the communication with this client, I just got that he is a tester. So I just update the job title marked with this little check. So there was no exception, all was valid. Just imagine you have phone validation rule that you need to enter an international format. This would just directly hide out. And as mentioned in the bottom, we have nice follow-up activities. I can create notes for my meeting. We see it here. Just remember there is a meeting note. It's called Let's Talk About Business. And I could also enter tasks in this sample. Here's a better detail. So you can imagine what will happen in the system. Yes, of course, it was updating the records user. It was adding a note to the system with my description, all directly out of the Teams meeting using my Microsoft Teams desktop client. Next feature. Need to speed up a little, but I try my best. The call integration. In the system, we already saw that we have the Teams integration directly in the browser, so we can do all our business without Teams client. So I can get incoming calls, what is very nice functionality. Just imagine your colleague is busy. The call gets inside a queue, and you can define the availability based on working time calendars for your whole sales team. And another colleague of the sales team could pick up this incoming call. Then we have the details of the incoming call. Just imagine the calling number, as we see on the right-hand screen, belongs to Anthony and a company called Consolidated Messenger. So we have all the details directly by the incoming call. Then we have the functionality as it is in the client. We can record the call. As we saw, we can take the notes. We can add follow-up activities. We can create a phone activity where we can track changes. And when we are recording the call, the system will automatically creating conversation protocol based on the transcript just created. So here we have the samples. We saw this screen earlier. Here I'm in the call for 1 minute and 46 seconds. The call is recorded and it is in US language. It belongs to a lead. I can open the call activity, and the same as we saw in the Dynamics clients. I can add the details, I can add the notes, no problem. Here we see it in the detail how this looks like. The user would click on the open call activity, and we see immediately the system creates on the fly. We see it on the top left, unsaved. Call to test user, this was the meeting invite subject. We see it's an outgoing call, who is calling, who is the recipient, it's a test user, we have the number, and then we can start writing our descriptions.